if you would keep it as quiet as you can in the background. This is the only way I have to communicate with you is by phone. So I cannot see your names. And if you're on some sort of speaker on your computer, if you can, keep the volume down just a little bit because I'm hearing a reverb and I'm hearing myself talk. So I'm going to go through the list of what I've got in front of me of who was supposed to be on. And really, literally, no kidding, in 30 seconds or less. If I call on you, just go ahead and answer with, you don't have to tell me your name because I've already called on you, which habitat you're at, and why might you want to participate in boot camp. And I'm going to start with Jerry up in North Woods. Jerry, you're at the top of my list.
I have to unmute Jerry. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Cool. Hi. So I'm in Northwoods and in Bemidji, and I think because our board needs to have some boot camp and get on board with fundraising.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
Lori,
Jake.
I also have,
yes.
I also have Judy Reese, our outgoing board president, our resource development committee member, on with me here.
Oh, hi, Judy.
Hi there.
Hope you're clicking your heels again today. All right. Next is, I'm sorry, Bridget Campbell at Freeborn Mauer. And is Bridget on?
I don't see Bridget yet. Nope.
Okay. Jake, down at Goodhue.
Jake is here, but he doesn't have audio.
Oh, dear. Jake, you want to ask a question then? Try to chat with me because your input is critical in this session today. If you can ask a question to me or chat to me in the chat box, why might you want to participate in boot camp? Let's see if while you're typing in, I can hear the typing.
He says okay, so he's working on it.
But if you can send it to me, that would be great. Like send it to Lori Jacobwith if that pops up in your screen.
He says he is new to Goodhue County and was previously with the Tasca County Habitat for Humanity. Oh, that's great. Thanks, Jake.
But why might your board and you want to participate? And Nancy Iglesias, you're next, so you want to get your answer ready while we're working with Jake here. Anything further, Jake, about why you might want to participate?
He says to
All right, let's go to
learn
Nancy and April.
To learn effective fundraising techniques.
Okay, got it. Thanks. Nancy from Winona-Fillmore counties. If you're on, I'd love to hear you. Why might you want to participate in boot camp?
Nancy is on, and it looks like she has audio set up.
Are you there, Nancy? Patricia McLeese is next.
She says she's talking, but yeah, don't hear her.
Nancy, go ahead and type in.
And
Patricia McLeese in Rochester.
Patricia couldn't make it today, but Bridget's here now.
Okay. Hello, Bridget. I'm going to come back to Bridget, okay? So she gets the drill of what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Pat Hayden at Steel Waseca. Why might your group want to participate in boot camp? Voice or type in.
I do have something from Nancy that she typed in. She says, we have a number of new board members and are trying to engage the full board in our fund development process.
Okay, great.
And Pat is on and appears to have audio, but
Pat Hayden from Steel Waseca, what I'm asking groups to say in type and not necessarily type, but actually tell me voice to voice, why might your affiliate want to participate in boot camp?
All right, can you guys hear me now yet?
Yeah.
Oh, there we are. Oh, there we go. I was pushing the wrong button. I'm new to this affiliate, and we are starting strategic planning this fall, so I was looking to see what I could learn from this webinar as to whether it'll be beneficial for our board members.
Great. All right, thank you very much. All right, let's go back to Bridget. Bridget, you kind of got the drill, and if you have audio, I'd love to hear your voice. Why might your affiliate in Freeborn Mauer want to participate in boot camp?
Oh, here she is, I think. Bridget?
Yeah.
Can you answer our question?
Yes.
Real quickly?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Bridget, the question is, why might your affiliate want to participate in boot camp?
I think our board is just looking for something to re-energize them and get them excited about what we're doing.
Okay. All right, got it. Thank you. Margaret Fleck from West Central Minnesota. Are you with us?
The West Central group is not able to join us today, but they're
all right.
listen
Kelly
later.
Wendell from Douglas County. Elizabeth
Nope.
Randa from West Central. Nope.
Nope.
How about
I think the only other one who's on here right now, let's see, we've got Anne and then Parker.
All right, let's do Anne first. Anne, why might your affiliate want to participate? Anne, are you there?
She appears to be here.
Parker, let's go to you. Why might your affiliate?
And Parker typed in, he does look like he looks like he has audio, but he typed in, our board is currently engaged in a planning process that involves resource development and, in my opinion, needs help and encouragement accepting their role in fund development.
All right. And April, if there's any way that we can capture some of the chat.
Yep, it'll all be logged from GoToMeeting.
That'll be great. Just if you can send that to me afterwards. I captured some of it, but I didn't get all of it. All right, and is Anne typing in anything, or is Anne available by phone?
I don't see anything yet. Oh,
all right. So Anne,
wait. Yep, she says yes. Anne here. It just came in. New board members and needs more assistance from board in the fundraising processes.
Okay, got it. Thank you. That helps me a lot. Many of you know me. I'm Lori Jacobwith. I live in Eden Prairie. I've done a bit of work with Habitat over the last few years, both at your conference and also some one-on-one work with some of the affiliates, doing some action planning sessions with your board and staff. I'm a master storyteller. I've been a trainer and coach for a long time, since I was 2, I think. I've helped organizations raise more than $200 million. We raised $10 million just in the last year. I'm pretty proud of the work that groups go through when they partner with me in some way. And I just completed a boot camp class with some organizations around the state. We had folks from the Twin Cities and Duluth and the Moorhead area. And I'll give you some of their feedback towards the end of this session. But one of the reasons I put this boot camp class together, and I'm assuming you're recording, April.
I am.
Okay, great. Is that, well, a couple. One, I put the boot camp together for myself because so many groups say, could you coach us, could you coach us? And what I found is group coaching is actually more effective than one-off coaching. And groups are often doing some of the very same things, and they don't realize everybody else is in the same boat that we are, and we've been doing it the hard way. Why wouldn't we want to do it a little easier with someone pointing out, don't take that path in the road, turn left here and jiggle over here. The other reason, of course, is April and the team at Habitat for Humanity Minnesota contacted me and said, could we do one of those for our affiliates? So here we are trying to figure out technology. So thanks for your patience with that. But also, what is this boot camp thing, and would we want to participate? So my definition of boot camp is that it's a fundraising training delivered via webinars in a rigorous, highly structured environment to cause unprecedented outcomes. That's my definition. I don't know what the boot camp definition is in the dictionary, but that's mine. And previous topics that groups have brought to the table are things like how to create a fundraising plan, how to more deeply engage your community, including your board, how to ask for contributions from individual donors with ease, how to ramp up a specific fundraising event. So what I ask is that groups come to boot camp with at least one challenging area. So the responsibility is on your team to figure out what is it that we want to work on together. And how this really works is that on the very first session, you clarify your goals for me, and you do that out loud. You've already done some homework prior to the first session. You identify some barriers to accomplishing your goal through a tool that I'll have you take a look at and download and use. We'll start to break the goal on that first session even into bite-sized steps. So it might be how to engage the board and have a powerful fall give to the max day. Might be something like that. Homework will include pre-recorded webinars, some pre-recorded videos that I've got that I might have you view, and also reading materials. Some of them are my blog, some of them are other materials that I have collected. And then the other important part of this that has to happen for it to be effective is we will meet almost every 2 weeks. There's one instance where it'll be 3 weeks, but every 2 weeks. And I ask that in that 2-week break, if you will, you are visiting with at least one other affiliate. It doesn't matter to me if some affiliates have 2 conversations or 3 conversations because you're the one that everybody calls, but the truth is you have to have some sort of out loud kvetching moment or proud moment or question and answer, even if it's for 10 minutes, to say, isn't this homework really hard, and boy, I can't even believe that we're doing all of this in 2 weeks. Whatever it is, having that one-on-one or team-on-team check-in makes a huge difference when you do it. And I won't assign who you're calling. You'll just want to be participating yourselves. This tool that we'll use is a PDF download from my mentor, my hero, an author and marketing guru, Seth Godin. It is easily downloadable just as a PDF from the internet, but I'll actually send you the document. It's a booklet that he put together to help groups get to what he calls the ship it stage. By shipping, you are actually completing some tasks that you said you had to complete in order to reach your goal. So this little booklet will require your team to physically write things down, like what fears do we have, what's stopping us, who do we need to get on board. It will help you clarify where you're headed. It's a really good precursor to doing some strategic planning, actually. It'll help you identify what you don't know, and you can bring those questions to me, to the Q&A forum that I have that you'll be able to access 24/7. You can also bring those questions to each other. And it will highlight what you believe and your strengths. And it'll keep you focused, I believe, on getting to what Seth and I call shipping. And shipping is simply getting that task or that project to the completion stage, or at least ready to complete. That's something that we'll do in the 12 weeks or so of this boot camp. So on each session, this is sort of what it looks like. There would be a short check-in from each team. So we would get the technology part figured out so that one team member is talking, and you literally will get 1 minute because there will be 6 groups. And we want the check-in to be really just 6 minutes. So you want to be succinct. You want to tell me what's working and where might you have been stopped. And then as we go through future weeks, there will be a few other things that will add to your check-in, like how many times did you make an ask? Did you invite someone to participate in your team? What is your funding gap? But we'll do all of that in just a short 1 to 1.5 minute check-in. most sessions, except for the final session, there will be what I call Lori Learnings. So I'll address a topic that is something that you're talking about in common on the Q&A forum or in questions that have come up in our check-in at the beginning of the previous session or the end of the last session. We'll always review your homework, and there's written homework and reading and viewing homework. So we'll review those through actual documents you've sent to me, poll questions that you'll answer to make sure that I know you've actually read or you've got some grasp of the concept that I was asking you to learn. There will be time for question and answers. And then we'll always go through what are the homework items or the needs for you to participate in as a group for the next session. So what I ask is your goal or area of focus that you would want to bring to boot camp. You want to be really clear about that. And I would ask that after you figure that out, if you decide you truly do want to participate, you answer that and the what is it that you cannot imagine accomplishing during boot camp. You answer that in an email directly to April, and April may send out a separate email after the session today with these two questions. My intention was actually to have these as a conversation right now, but given our technology, I think it'll be just easier to have you fill it out after you've discussed with your team. I'm not looking for 17 different answers. I'm looking for answers from how many affiliates, April, do we have total that are interested?
There's quite a few right now. Yeah.
So but
not
it looks like
when here today, they're actually
right. But there's about 8 to 10, even though there were 16 potential participants. There's about 8 to 10 affiliates that are interested. So I'm looking for 8 to 10 answers, but it's a group answer. But just one person per team would send the answer to that.
And there are more affiliates interested than those who are here today because they're planning to listen to the recording. Yep.
Correct. So I want to say a little bit, here's some Lori learnings for today, a little bit about accountability. And that is, as you know, it's being held responsible for our actions. And how we would do that is through a few different ongoing things that I'll ask you to do each time. But I truly believe accountability is what causes success. And sometimes we shy away from holding our board or ourselves accountable. And I love that some of you on with us today are board members or are board members maybe even at other organizations. So Judy, thanks for being here, and others of you who are board members, thanks for being here. The truth is there is a responsibility, and when we take care of that responsibility, there is a reward or a consequence. Often people think of accountability and consequences as a bad thing. Well, if you don't do this, you're going to have to sit in the corner, right? Well, I look at it as a little different. When you hold each other accountable, there's a reward for those obligations and those tasks that you have undertaken. And those might be, we add 100 new donors this year. It might be we have more visibility and visits to our website than ever before. It might be we closed our funding gap early and we have enough dollars to start the next fiscal year in the black. But I want to focus on what the reward is for being responsible and holding yourselves accountable versus the sit in the corner with the dunce hat on kind of feeling. That's what I'm not about that at all, those of you who know me. This boot camp really focuses on the 9 steps to a successful fundraising campaign, and many of you have read the 9 steps. It's a book you can download, an ebook you can download from my website on the free resources page, or it is a book you can buy, a bound paperback book. But I just want to take you through the overview of what those 9 steps are, so you understand that we'll touch on many or most of these areas as parts of the Lori learnings in the boot camp. So that you have both number 1 and number 2, that you have at least some staff, maybe 1, and key volunteer leadership who are supporting the specific fundraising campaign or fund development effort. The board members are given the opportunity to participate willingly and with some excitement in some capacity, whether they ask someone for a gift or not, that there's a way for them to participate. We'll work on what are your goals, how do you clearly define that, what's your timeline, how do you create a sense of urgency for Give to the Max Day and or your full year fundraising goal. Well, of course, if you know me at all, you know that I talk about emotional connections, which is stories. How do we talk about our homeowners, our prospective homeowners, our volunteers, our vendors, our board members, in a way that has people get excited and want to learn more? And then what ongoing work do you do throughout the course of the year, not just in the next couple of months, but in the course of the year, that keeps your interested parties, your volunteers, your donors, your community members, informed and engaged without being asky all the time? You can talk about the money. Number 7 is talk about the money all over the place, but it doesn't have to feel asky. It could feel inspiring. And then we want to make sure, I want to make sure you're inviting participants to do specific things, just as I will be inviting you to do specific things with deadlines. I'll be looking to you to do that as well with your community. And then having some sort of database other than Excel spreadsheet. We'll talk a tiny bit about that. And I may get some examples from all of you on what tool you use to do some tracking and keeping up to date on some information, some numbers, some activity, both from a board member and a staff participation perspective, as well as a donor activity perspective and a thanking perspective. There will be homework. No boot camp is complete without homework. So we'll debrief each session. I'll ask you to do that by phone or in person with your team within 48 hours of the boot camp. So we'll have almost every other week sessions, and how I'll know that you actually, that you actually did your debrief is I'll ask you to jot down some thoughts in the Q&A forum that I'll send you a login and password for that will be good during the time that you are part of my boot camp, and you'll get to. During that time, during the 12 weeks, you will have access to every single webinar I've ever recorded for my Ignited Online Fundraising community, and some of those webinars will become homework for you. But I'll see and I'll know and I'll be alerted to when you type in your debrief updates. You'll review the Ship It book on your own and fill in sections of it before you meet each time. I would ask you to fill in as much as possible before the first session, once you're chosen, so that I know we're really serious here. And I'll ask some questions and have you give me feedback on some of the questions that you did answer. So when we get together, we'll review your answers, and we'll talk about areas of concern or where you weren't even able to answer the question yet, so that I can help you with some coaching to get past whatever might be stopping you. As I said, log into the members only area, enter the debrief notes, complete the homework. This is really critical. Our sessions, our boot camp sessions, will be on Mondays. I will create the slides for each session with your homework input. So the session will be much less helpful, much less effective for your team if you have not sent me your homework the Friday before the next boot camp session, because I will only be able to give you feedback and include your homework examples on the screen for feedback if I have it by Friday morning. So it has to be Friday morning before the boot camp session. So consider the deadline for homework Thursday night before the next boot camp session. And then read whatever assigned readings or videos that are attached. Now it's a lot. I'll tell you, the groups that went through this boot camp that just completed a couple weeks ago, I think were astounded by how much they got accomplished, and they had a lot of things happen. One of the executive directors' husband passed away. One of the key staff left. A board member got sick. Another board member went out of town. They completed their homework. Amazing things happened because they were focused and they knew they would get the most value out of boot camp if they did all the pieces, even if all their team members weren't available. So you'll hear me quote Seth Godin a few times during the boot camp session, but I love this partial quote from him. It's called "Overcoming the Impossibility of Amazing." It's one of his blog posts. If you set your bar at amazing, it's awfully difficult to start. So maybe you want to have an amazing fundraising season this fall, amazing Give to the Max Day. Your first paragraph, sketch, formula, sample, concept, or fundraising letter isn't going to be amazing. Your 10th one might not be either. Confronted with the gap between your vision of perfect and the reality of what you've created, the easiest path is no path. So you might shrug, admit defeat, and hit delete. Of course, the only path to amazing runs directly through not yet amazing. But not yet amazing is a great place to start because that's where you are right now. Just for now, though. There's a big difference between not settling and not starting. So I created this boot camp session so that you would be able to start and move towards amazing. In your fundraising, in your board engagement, in your visibility building, all of those areas. I'll give you time to ask me questions in just a moment, but I want to make sure two things, that you know what some other groups have said that have participated, and then that you know how to qualify to participate. So this was from someone who just completed boot camp 2 weeks ago, and she said, boot camp was a great experience for our organization. We truly did not imagine what's possible until we went through this course. We're more confident than ever that we will reach our goals. Now, in 2-week period, 2 of the organizations raised over $8,000 the last 2 weeks of the boot camp. And one of the groups raised over 50% of what they had left to raise before the end of their fiscal year in September. So they're pretty thrilled that they're going to reach their goal in just a couple weeks. Another group said we were able to move forward at a faster pace. We gained momentum and most importantly gained the confidence to deliver our message and the right message. It's not about money at all. It's about working together to change lives. And you do that. The homes you build, the families that you contact, and whether they actually get to have a home right away or not, you're literally changing how they feel about themselves and the experience that they have when they walk through those doors for the first time. So here's some steps on how to qualify, and after I read through these and tell you about them, I want to make sure that April, you get a chance to chime in here as well.
Thank you.
So all potential team members would complete a survey that I've created by this Friday, actually by this Wednesday. I asked for it to happen pretty quickly on purpose. We want to get started pretty quickly, and the first deadline helps me know how serious you guys really are. Now I know that folks might be on vacation, so you can advocate for and negotiate with April a different deadline if that's the case, but I would ask that the majority of you, if you are interested, you want to complete the survey by the 21st. You have to agree to attend all 6 sessions with your full team. Now, unforeseen things will happen. Angie, in the last session, she missed 1 boot camp because her husband passed away. We forgave her. We got that. We loved her. Some went to her funeral, his funeral. There was nothing that could be done, but her team carried on, and they still had 4 members on the webinar, and 1 person was replacing Angie. So the more people who participate, the better. You want to agree to complete the homework by each deadline. And that question is in the survey. So you're actually writing down with your name attached to it that you agree to do that. And that you agree to work in teams. I'm looking for teamwork, and that you don't necessarily just rely on 1 person to complete the questions or send the graph or send the charts or whatever it is. That you might parse out different pieces, but before things get sent in, you've got some team conversation. You've got some additional people, some additional players that you might have do different pieces than are even participating on the webinars. That's great. That's part of what we're looking for on how to build a powerful conversation and foundation for fundraising at your affiliate. What else do you have for them, April, that would add to this list?
Well, I think just the reminder that we can only do up to 6 affiliates per boot camp. And so we definitely at this point have quite a bit more interest than that. And so just to know that this is just the first time that we're doing this. And so to really think, is this the best time for me between September and December to look at this fall? We will, because we are still doing the USDA RCDI grant, have a preference for our rural affiliates if they're interested in participating, but that's not forever and ever. And we'll see where the interest is. I think we'll look at those survey responses and see where we're at, and then that will help us decide, do we need to schedule another one this spring? Who's most ready or most, needs it most urgently this fall. The only other thing I was going to add is that I did look at the survey. So if you're thinking, can I get this done by Wednesday? I think you can. I looked through it. It's not so terribly long. And if you're already here and thinking about doing this, you're probably considering some of the questions that are part of it already.
So these are the dates we're proposing. The kickoff would be on September 23rd, and the date that they would know, we'll cover that in just a moment on the next slide, a future slide here. But there would be a little bit of homework before that first date. I say once you're chosen as a participant, once you're one of the first six groups, your boot camp experience starts immediately. And in fact, that's even a little late. Your boot camp experience starts today when you get the link to the survey and you go ahead and fill that out. Because it may spark some thinking and some conversation, some of those questions. And there are only 10 questions, 10 or 11, I think. It's very short. Most of them are yes, no. A couple of them require some conversation and some paragraphs and typing, but it's been done in as short as about 2 to 3 minutes and as long as someone took 40. So I think they took a break partway through or something. But I can tell on the survey when it's returned how long it took, because it tells me how long the survey was open. So my guess is you'll be somewhere in the middle there. So
I should add too that we do have other opportunities to work with Lori, a couple workshops that we will get scheduled and be hosting this year. And so this isn't the only opportunity to do something with Lori, and it's also not the only training support that we would have. So if it feels more intense than what you're looking for, there are some other options, and we can talk offline about those then too.
Yeah. So the 23rd of September, 2 dates in October, the 7th and the 28th. There's a little bit of a gap there. I've got some travel in October that didn't allow me to have it every other week, so you get a little respite. And then the 11th and 25th of November, again, some travel in there. And then the final plan, the final session where each group presents to us what you're shipping or have shipped and what your plan is to keep focused on this project or problem that you brought to the table and how you've unfolded those challenges. So you get about 5 minutes to 7 minutes each group to present, and you can do that through sending me slides that I incorporate in, charts, graphs, pictures, whatever it is, but I'll do a random order of who goes first. Usually I do the order based on how, when your information showed up for me, so it's nice that email gets time-stamped. And we have a presentation from each of you and then some parting thoughts. So before we get to questions, let me tell you what the next steps are that we know of, that I know of, and then April can jump in here too, and then I'm going to go back to just opening it up to voice or typed in questions. And if you've got questions, now's the time to start typing them in. You'll get a follow-up email from April with the slides from this session, the recording of this session, and a link to the SurveyMonkey. So that, and the deadline will be the 21st for you to fill out that SurveyMonkey. I'm asking that you complete it by Wednesday. Then be available, if possible, if necessary, if the folks, Jan and April and maybe some others at the office at Habitat for Humanity Minnesota want to ask you a few questions. There might be some screening questions after you take the survey. And it is not an anonymous survey, just so you know. I do require your name and affiliate so we know what's coming from where. And then April, do you have any idea by when you and Jan might decide the 6 groups that are lucky to get in?
I would hope, you know, if we do get all the surveys in by the 21st, we could probably do it by the end of the month.
Great. So as soon as we can. So we'll say August 30th is what it's looking like, and you all can help us with that by being timely with your answers. What questions, what comments, what thoughts do you have? What do you need to know to take this back to your full group?
I'm going to try. We have a question from Nancy, and I'm going to try to unmute her and see if this works this time. That didn't work before, but hi, Nancy. Do you want to try?
Hi, April. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Yay. Okay. My question was, can you have more than 4 members? And could a VISTA member be part of your group?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, yes, and yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, great. Did you, and you already answered our question, right, of why your group might want to participate?
Yes. We are in the process of sort of redefining our fund development committee, and we actually have people sitting in those chairs that are ready to go, and we want the full board, not just the 4 or 5 committee members, to be engaged in that process.
Great. Great. Other questions? Comments?
Let's see.
Thoughts?
We have a question. 1 second.
Yeah.
Jerry asks, what kind of time commitment between the webinars will members be spending? A couple of hours? 10 hours?
You know, it's a great question, and if I asked the groups that just went through, I think they would tell you that they, all of them, spent very minimal time, and they wished they had spent more. I would say most of the groups spent an hour to maybe 2 hours doing work or follow-up or reading or watching a video. Now the videos take a little longer because they're usually an hour in and of themselves. So there's a minimum of 1 hour of something. So I would say anywhere up to 5 hours in the 2 weeks in between. And it's up to you. You know, it's up to your team how much or how little you put in, but the minimal requirement would probably be about 2 hours.
Great. We have a couple more questions. Let's see here. Bridget, I think you have yourself muted. So it looks like you're on the phone, but maybe you have yourself muted, so I can't unmute you. But if you do unmute yourself, you can go ahead and ask. There we go.
Okay, so we have our new board members. We have like 3 or 4 vacancies on the board right now, and several will be rotating off, and hopefully we'll have new people recruited. And this turnover takes place in October on the 14th. And so my question is, the first couple of sessions, you know, you have September 23rd and October 7th, which would be the current board structure, but it's the new board that I would like to target, and that doesn't take place till October 14th. So would your recommendation be to wait till the next one?
It depends on what you want to get out of the sessions. You'd still have 4 sessions, three sessions really, because the final one is the final plan. There's a couple things. We record all the sessions.
Oh, okay.
So if they're not on at the beginning, part of their homework might be to listen to those.
Okay, okay.
I re-listen to them myself because I want to remember what I said, and I can't, you know, take notes and talk at the same time. So every time I go back to do another, put the slides together for the next session, I re-listen to them. But you've got the recordings. If you are looking to have a strong fundraising fall, maybe Bridget, you've got a goal you want to meet and you want to have those new board members have no bad habits. Not that the ones you have now have bad habits, but you maybe want them to really come on strong. This might be the perfect time to have them participate live in those last 4 sessions that they could.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Questions? Comments? I guess here's what I'd like to know. What are you most nervous about, if anything? And just go ahead and type it into the chat box so that April can see that.
Sure. And Parker, if you want to try again to ask your question. I think maybe because it shows that you're connected to audio, I wonder if the volume on your headset is turned down.
We're not hearing you, but I bet you're saying something brilliant, Parker.
Oh, and let's see here. We've got a question, comment here. So Anne at Central Minnesota has several strategic plans in place for fall. Can this help us improve and bring in more funds? We currently have a mission advancement team in place to get things moving in the right direction. Thanks, Anne.
So I guess what I'd want to know more of, Anne, is you have several strategic plans, as in you've got projects from your strategic plan that you want to tackle. One of the things that this process does, if I'm understanding you correctly, is I would say bring to the boot camp 1 or 2 of those plans that you want to unfold for this fall. And then this boot camp helps you put those into action. Especially the Ship It book. You can fill out the Ship It book for each plan, each part of the plan. I'm sorry, April?
Oh, sorry. She answered yes and got it. Thanks. Just so you know.
Okay.
You're on the right track with that. That was good.
Okay, good. And did we get Parker?
Here's his question. He just typed it in. Parker says, what is the cost to affiliates of boot camp? And I can field that one. We're going to look at who is interested. I think for particularly for those USDA RCDI affiliates, it will be no cost or very low cost. Sometimes we'll add some kind of a fee to help with some of that accountability and the commitment to the process, but we're still looking at that piece. But you'll know that before we ask you to fully commit.
Let me just show you a copy of the PDF of the Ship It journal. You can print this out once you get it once you're chosen, or you can go search for it on the web and just use it. But you can fill it out per project. And I usually say take the questions and just put them on a Word document and start to work on them. So it talks about the reasons that you don't ship or get things done is you don't know enough, you don't see clearly enough, you might not believe enough. The booklet requires you literally to highlight what you believe and write things down so you really cover what it is you have to cover. And then what's the project? When would it ship? Is it a strong give to the MAC state? Who's responsible for shipping it? And maybe there's a whole team. What are you afraid of? What else? Why are you afraid? We really dig into this conversation. Edges. Edges are the place that you want to go with the project. Do you want it to be fake or do you want it to be real? Do you want to get it done quickly or slowly? Do you want to do it cheaply, expensively? So it talks about what compromises do you have to make because of funding, time, the amount of knowledge you have, who are your customers, it might be your vendors, it might be the board, and so on. It's pretty simple questions. And there's 26 pages, so not all of them have questions on it, but I just wanted you to see what it is. And I don't ask you to fill the whole thing out by the first session, but I ask you to fill out a good chunk of it so that you've started to think about this thing that we want to do that we're pretty sure we're not going to be able to complete it totally and completely. What is that, and what are some of the parameters and issues and challenges we've got? Any other questions?
There, a comment on the question about what would you be most nervous about. And so Nancy did share that she'd be most nervous about busy board members being willing to commit to homework.
Yeah. One of the things that I would do is have them listen to this webinar, have them have a conversation with you and or April or whomever that is in a leadership position. If you truly want to participate, part of the excitement and part of the uncertainty and the challenge is how do we engage those board members and those staff that we really want to have participate and hold each other accountable. That, no kidding, unless it's a life or death thing, which we had on the last boot camp, we're on each call and we participate in our best possible way, even if it's just to be on and run to vacation and not be able to participate in all the answering in between the 2 weeks. Whatever it is, you get full-on participation. Anything else?
I don't see any other hands up or other comments.
What might you be most excited about, if anything? Just type in real quickly so April can read those to me. What might you be most excited about?
Nancy added, actually closing our gap.
Oh, good. All right, very good. For me, what would be exciting is to be supporting as many of you as possible in doing just that, Nancy. Closing your gap with some ease, some fun, and some tangible, specific, measurable outcomes.
Anne added the possibility to raise more money than ever in the past.
Great.
We do have another question too about if a board member cannot attend the session live, can they receive a recording and still be considered a participant? And I think that was a yes. If they're doing homework, or
if they're not on live, that's a big no-no.
Okay.
So they have to be on live. I really would ask you that. And what I said is, unless it's a life or death issue, which we had on the last session, we absolutely said, Angie, don't, you can't be there. I mean, you're grieving and you have a family and you need to do, but someone else participated in her place. She listened to the webinar when she was able, and she was on the rest of the webinars. Okay. It's part of the commitment is to be on each session. Go ahead, yeah.
Oh, and Jerry says she's excited about growing our Builders Club, and Parker says it looks like a great opportunity and could be a big help to our development as an affiliate.
Great. All right. So just a reminder of what the next steps are. Watch for the follow-up email from April with the recording, the slides, and the link to the survey. Any other questions that you have, feel free to call April or Jan, or they may call you, once we get the survey results. Right. And we will do our best to alert those who've been accepted into the boot camp program for this first round as soon as the end of the month. And if not, it'll be right after Labor Day. But I'd like to, visit with the team at the office just to make sure we've got the very right fit and a good cross-section around the state. And as April said, there are other ways to engage, and we may do a second session. I'd recommend if we do that, we do it probably starting in end of January or February, so you're complete by the spring when you can do building again. And then we'll have some workshops coming up. So that's what I have for you. Thank you.
You can look for that email yet this afternoon. As soon as that recording gets uploaded, then that will go out to you and to those who were unable to join us today. So they'll be listening to that recording.
Terrific.
Thank you so much, Lori. Thanks everybody for bearing with us on the weird. You probably didn't even notice the technical issue. It's just for Lori and I. But
April, you did a great job.
Yeah.
Nice work.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.